As I mentioned, the New York Times said that COVID, you have a higher chance of dying from flu pneumonia, drowning, cardiovascular disease, suicide, homicide, vehicle accidents. So to be consistent, per 100,000 for children, right?
Okay.
Are you okay with banning driving?
So let's go to this. I'm okay with making sure kids have a set of prerequisites in order to drive. Which,
How about
by
being
the
a
way,
passenger?
wait a minute. By the way, that's already the law. Children do not get to drive just because they turn a certain age. They have to get a learner's permit, go through a training process in order to get their license. And why do we do that, Charlie? We do that because we know that driving is dangerous. That's why we do that, right?
Well, also being a passenger in a car as well. I'm just saying,
brother,
to
everything at some level has a danger, right?
If your view is to make safety a priority over liberty, then I'm just asking you, because that is really the question, right?
No.
Do you have the liberty to be as God made you without a mask, right?
God made you without clothes. You got clothes on.
Well, and we wear clothes for a reason. We know the biblical reason for that.
It's the law. And you will be charged with indecent exposure.
God also gave us a face for a reason, be able to interact and empathize, to communicate, so I can see your expressions. Let me ask you a question.
Charlie, come on.
Do you think this debate would be better or worse if we had masks on?
It'll be the same for me.
Really? You think so?
Let me tell you something, brother.
That's interesting.
I teach college classes and lecture with a mask on. All of my students have masks. I go to law school. We all have masks on. My professor has a mask as well. And I've actually been in schools when schools first started back where masks were required. And let me tell you something about real teachers. School teachers are able to teach with a mask on and without a mask. It's called pedagogy. And some of the really good teachers, they're able to translate the message of the mask into their curriculum. But once again, you're avoiding something that's huge and right in our face. Is the benefit, and this is a question of what you believe, is the benefit of protecting children by saying you do have to wear a mask, you do have to abide by a dress code, you do have to abide by a particular behavioral standard. Are those directives inside of a school system to protect the overall and general safety of students? Is that a good idea? I say yes, you say no.
Well, and I think you're coming from a false premise. The data I showed is that they're not at risk and considerably from the Delta variant.
Silo thinking, brother. You're not thinking about their families or
communities. The data
I
showed that they don't even wear the masks. The data I also
what percentage?
shows, well, again, 2%
what percentage of kids do not wear the mask properly?
I don't have data on that, but if you've ever been around a 6-year-old, they don't wear anything properly.
Man,
they eat dirt.
Let me tell you something, man.
Let alone wear a mask properly.
Charlie, and I mean this in all due respect. I've been inside of school systems recently that did the let's come back thing and let's wear masks and let's socially distance. Those kids were well behaved. They did not take the mask off. They adhered to it.
Even if a 2% adjustment, doctor, 2%,
well,
it changes everything.
Well, it changes it based on the research that I have from 90% effectiveness, and it can lower down to 10%. All right, you got a lot of wiggle room in between that. No scientist says that wearing a cloth mask is ineffective. They just argue on the effectiveness with the majority of the science and majority of the data saying it is well over 50%